The wedding invitation sat unopened on my desk at Stellar Enterprises, its cream-colored envelope a stark contrast to the sleek modern design of my office. I already knew what it didn't say, that I, Sophia Wilson, wasn't welcome at my own sister's wedding. Ms. Wilson. My assistant Michael appeared at the door. The quarterly reports are ready for your review, and the board meeting is in 30 minutes. I nodded, finally picking up the envelope. Thank you, Michael. And what about the other matter? He smiled knowingly. The acquisition paperwork for Turner Tech is complete. Mr. Turner has no idea we're the buyers. Perfect. James Turner, my sister Victoria's fiancé, thought he was selling his struggling tech company to a mysterious international conglomerate. He had no clue that Stellar Enterprises, the company I'd built from nothing into a billion-dollar tech giant, was behind the purchase. Just like Victoria had no idea that her pathetic secretary sister was actually one of the most powerful CEOs in the industry. The memory of last week's conversation still burned. A secretary? Victoria had sneered over lunch at the country club, her new engagement ring catching the light. Really, Sophia, is that the best you could do? After all that time playing with computers in college. I'd simply sipped my water, letting her continue. In her mind, I was just an administrative assistant at some nameless tech company, struggling to make ends meet while she lived the high life with James. James is merging his company with an international tech giant, she'd bragged. We're talking billions. Of course, you wouldn't understand numbers that big. If she only knew. Those billions she was talking about. They were mine. About the wedding, she'd continued, examining her manicure. We've decided to keep it exclusive. Image is everything in James's circle, you understand. A secretary doesn't exactly fit our aesthetic. I'm your sister, I'd said quietly. And I love you, she'd replied with fake sympathy. But this wedding is about connections, networking. Important people will be there. James's business associates, potential investors. She'd reached across the table to pat my hand. You'd feel so out of place. What Victoria didn't know was that most of those important people already worked for me. James's company, Turner Tech, had been failing for months. Their technology was outdated, their management structure a mess. The only reason they'd stayed afloat was because I'd been secretly propping up their stock through shell companies, waiting for the perfect moment to acquire them. That moment was tonight at the rehearsal dinner. Michael, I called, making a decision. Move the Turner Tech signing to tonight. And get me the guest list for Victoria's rehearsal dinner. Already done, he replied. Though I should warn you, your sister was quite specific about not wanting you there. I smiled, opening my laptop to review the acquisition papers. Oh, I won't be there as her sister. I'll be there as the CEO of Stellar Enterprises, James's new boss. The day passed in a blur of meetings and preparations. I chose my outfit carefully, a tailored black Armani suit that cost more than Victoria's engagement ring. My secretary clothes, as she called them, were carefully packed away. At 7 p.m. I stood outside the luxury hotel where the rehearsal dinner was being held. Through the windows, I could see Victoria holding court, showing off her ring to a group of admiring guests. James worked the room, probably trying to reassure his business associates about the upcoming merger. Everything's set, Michael murmured beside me. The papers just need his signature. I checked my reflection one last time. And the timing? The merger announcement is scheduled for 8 p.m. Right after the main course. I nodded, straightening my shoulders. Let's go make my sister's rehearsal dinner unforgettable. The maitre d' recognized me immediately. I owned the hotel after all. He led us to the private dining room, announcing in a clear voice, Miss Sophia Wilson, CEO of Stellar Enterprises. The room fell silent. James, in the middle of a conversation with some investors, froze mid-sentence. His face went from confused to shocked to terrified in the span of seconds. Madame Sue, he stammered. I can explain. But I wasn't looking at him. I was watching Victoria, who stood by the champagne fountain, her perfect smile cracking as realization dawned. Sophia, she whispered. What are you? You're a secretary. I handed my coat to Michael, enjoying the weight of every eye in the room. Actually, Victoria, I'm the CEO of the company buying Turner Tech. Though I'm surprised James didn't mention it. I turned to him, raising an eyebrow. You did tell your fiancé about the merger, didn't you? James looked like he might faint. The prestigious international company he'd been bragging about, the one that was supposed to save his failing business? It was his future sister-in-law's. Victoria's champagne glass slipped from her fingers, shattering on the marble floor. "This is a joke," she said, her voice rising. "It has to be a joke." I pulled out my phone, projecting the acquisition documents onto the room's display screen. "No joke, sister dear. Though I have to ask, does a CEO fit your wedding's aesthetic better than a secretary?" The silence in the room was deafening. Victoria's perfect makeup couldn't hide her rapidly paling face, while James looked like he might actually pass out. "Now then," I said, taking a seat at the head of the table, the same spot Victoria had specifically told the staff not to set a place for me. "Shall we discuss the merger?" James stumbled forward, his designer suit suddenly looking too tight. "Madam CEO, please, if we could discuss this privately." "Why privately?" I asked innocently. "I thought this dinner was about networking, making connections. Isn't that what you told Victoria?" Victoria finally found her voice. "How dare you?" she hissed, moving closer. "This is my rehearsal dinner. You're ruining everything." I looked at her calmly. "Like you ruined my invitation to your wedding? Or how about all those times you mocked my little computer job at family gatherings? That was different. I thought you were just a secretary?" I finished for her. "And that made it okay to treat me like I was beneath you?" Michael stepped forward, tablet in hand. "Ms. Wilson, shall we proceed with the merger announcement?" James practically leaped forward. "Wait. Please, we can negotiate. Negotiate?" I smiled. "But your company's doing so well, isn't it, James? That's what you've been telling everyone. Including my sister." The other guests, mostly business associates and investors, were watching the drama unfold with barely concealed interest. Many of them already knew who I was. They'd been dealing with stellar enterprises for years. "James." Victoria turned to her fiancé. "What is she talking about?" I pulled up more documents on the screen. "Should I tell her, James? About how Turner Tech is 3 months away from bankruptcy? About the massive debt you've been hiding? Or about how the only thing keeping your stock price above water has been my discreet market manipulation?" The color drained from James's face. Victoria's eyes widened as she looked between us. "Of course," I continued, "the merger will save the company. Though the terms might need some adjustment, given recent developments." "What kind of adjustments?" James asked weakly. "Well, for starters, you'll be stepping down as CEO. We'll keep you on as a consultant, of course. Can't have my sister's husband unemployed. It would look bad." Victoria grabbed James's arm. "You told me the merger would make us richer. That you'd be running the combined company." I couldn't help but laugh. "Oh, sister dear. Did you really think an international tech giant would let the CEO of a failing company take control? James has been lying to you. About everything." "That's not." James started, but I cut him off by projecting Turner Tech's real financial statements onto the screen. "The numbers don't lie, James. Your company is worth less than 1/10 of what you told Victoria. The only reason you're getting any deal at all is because I decided to be generous. For family's sake." Victoria's face had turned from pale to red. "You planned this," she accused. "You deliberately humiliated me at my own rehearsal dinner." "No, Victoria. You humiliated yourself. Every time you looked down on me, every time you treated me like I was worthless because of what you thought was my job. I just decided to let you see the truth about me and about your perfect fiancé." I stood up, straightening my jacket. "Now we can do this one of 2 ways. Option 1. James signs the merger agreement tonight under the original terms. He steps down gracefully, accepts the consultant position, and everyone saves face. And option 2? James asked hoarsely. "I walk away. Without my intervention, Turner Tech collapses within 3 months. Your investors panic, your stock becomes worthless, and all those wedding plans." I gestured around the luxurious room. "Well, they might need some downsizing." Victoria grabbed my arm. "You can't do this. We're sisters." "Are we?" I met her eyes steadily. "Because when you thought I was just a secretary, that didn't seem to matter much to you." The room had grown uncomfortably quiet. James's business associates were already edging toward the door, no doubt eager to dump their Turner Tech stock first thing in the morning. "The papers are ready," Michael announced, placing a folder on the table. James looked at the documents, then at Victoria, then back at me. His shoulders slumped in defeat. Where do I sign? Victoria watched in horror as her fiancé signed away his company. Her perfect wedding plans, built on James's lies about his success, were crumbling before her eyes. One more thing, I said as James finished signing. About the wedding. Victoria's head snapped up. What about it? As the major shareholder of both companies now, I'll need to approve any major expenses for key employees, including extravagant wedding celebrations. You wouldn't. The budget needs to reflect the company's current situation, I said smoothly. I suggest something modest. Maybe in the company cafeteria. The look on Victoria's face was priceless. Her dream wedding, planned to show off her new status in high society, would now have to fit a middle manager's budget. This is revenge, she whispered. For not inviting you. I gathered my papers, handing them to Michael. No, Victoria. This is business. The revenge part. I smiled. That was just a bonus. As I turned to leave, Victoria called out, Wait. The wedding, will you come? I paused at the door. Of course. After all, what kind of boss would I be if I missed my employee's wedding? The next morning my phone was flooded with messages. Victoria had cancelled the elaborate wedding, opting for a quick courthouse ceremony instead. James started his new role as special consultant, a position that basically meant staying out of the way while we rebuilt his company. Me. I had Michael frame the original wedding invitation, the one that had excluded me. It hangs in my office now next to Turner Tech's acquisition papers. A reminder that success isn't about proving others wrong, it's about proving yourself right. 6 months later, Victoria came to my office. Gone were the designer clothes and superior attitude. Hooked, humbled. I need a job, she said quietly. James's consultant salary, it's not what we're used to. I considered her request. We do have an opening. In the secretarial pool. Her face flushed, but she didn't argue. I'll take it. One condition, I said, looking at the framed wedding invitation. You'll have to work your way up. No special treatment, no shortcuts. Think you can handle that? She nodded slowly. I've learned. Appearances aren't everything. No, I agreed. They're not. I had Michael set up her desk in the main office area, not hidden away in the kitchen or back room, but right where everyone could see her. Where she could learn what it really means to earn respect rather than demand it. Last week she brought me coffee before a board meeting. Not because she had to, but because she wanted to. I'm sorry, she said. For everything. I accepted the coffee with a nod. I know. Now get back to work. Those reports won't file themselves. She smiled, a real smile, not the fake one she used to wear. Yes, Madame CEO. Success, I've learned, isn't about the title on your door or the seat you're given at the table. It's about knowing your worth even when others don't see it. And sometimes, the best revenge isn't about getting even, it's about rising so high that those who look down on you have to look up to see you. As for James, he still flinches every time I walk into a room. But that's another story. 1 year after the rehearsal dinner revelation, Stellar Enterprises held its annual charity gala. The event was the talk of the tech world, with CEOs and industry leaders flying in from around the globe. Victoria, still working in the secretarial pool, helped with the preparations. The place cards need to be perfect, she told her team, a hint of her old perfectionism showing through. Every detail matters. I watched from my office as she directed the setup, remembering how she used to treat people in service positions. The irony wasn't lost on me. James had adapted to his consultant role better than expected. His technical knowledge was actually valuable once his ego was removed from the equation. He avoided my office when possible, but his work was solid. Ms. Wilson. Michael appeared at my door. Your parents are here. Ah, yes. The other loose end. My parents had been conspicuously silent during the whole rehearsal dinner drama. They'd watched their successful daughter's fairy tale crumble, while their disappointment was revealed as a business powerhouse. Send them in. They entered cautiously. Mom clutched her handbag like a shield, while Dad tugged at his collar nervously. The gala looks wonderful, Mom ventured. Victoria's done a nice job with the arrangements. She has, I agreed. She's learning the value of hard work. Dad cleared his throat. Sophia, about what happened last year. We should have seen. You should have seen what, Dad? That I was more than just a secretary? That success doesn't always look the way you expect it to. They had the grace to look ashamed. 4 years they'd favored Victoria, praising her for marrying well, while dismissing my career choices as impractical. We were wrong, Mom said quietly. About everything. I studied them for a moment. Yes, you were. But that's not why you're here, is it? Dad shifted uncomfortably. We're selling the house. The market's not good, and with Victoria's situation. You need help, I finished for them. We wouldn't ask, but I'm the successful daughter now, I said. The one you can turn to in a crisis. The silence was heavy with unspoken regrets. I pressed the intercom. Michael, please bring in the property portfolio. He appeared moments later with a sleek folder. Inside were documents showing that I'd already purchased their house through a subsidiary, months ago when the market first started declining. You bought our house? Mom's voice trembled. I protect my investments, I said simply. You can stay, of course. The rent will be reasonable. But there will be conditions. What conditions? Dad asked. First, no more comparing your daughters. No more playing favorites. Second, you'll both volunteer at the coding academy I've set up for underprivileged students. It's time you learned what playing with computers really means. They agreed readily. They didn't have much choice. But over the next few months, something unexpected happened. Dad actually became passionate about teaching kids to code. Mom started taking computer classes herself. At the gala that evening, I watched my newly humbled family working together. Victoria efficiently managing the event staff. James discussing technical specifications with investors, minus his former arrogance. Mom and Dad proudly telling guests about the Coding Academy's latest success stories. Quite a change from last year's rehearsal dinner, Michael observed. I smiled, remembering Victoria's shattered champagne glass, James's pale face as he signed away his company. Sometimes people need to lose everything to understand what really matters. Later that night, after the guests had left, Victoria was helping with cleanup when she found an old name tag from the rehearsal dinner. Sophia Wilson. It read an elegant script. I kept it as a reminder, I told her, seeing her holding it, of how quickly things can change. She nodded slowly. I found my old nameplate too. The one from my fancy office at Turner Tech. I threw it away. Good choice. Do you ever? She hesitated. Do you ever regret how you revealed everything? At the rehearsal dinner. I considered her question carefully. No. You needed to see yourself clearly. All of you did. Sometimes the kindest thing we can do for people is let them face the truth about themselves. Victoria was quiet for a moment. I have my 6-month review coming up, she finally said. I know. I'm not asking for special treatment, she added quickly. I want you to know I'm really trying. I looked at my sister, really looked at her. The designer clothes were gone, replaced by practical business wear. The entitled attitude had been replaced by genuine effort.